Welcome to Gaming with Scott presents Marvel Superheroes, a character development session. In these sessions, we meet our players, learn a bit about them, learn more about their characters, and get a glimpse at what drives them in our Marvel Superheroes live play podcasts. What makes a superhero? What drives the human condition to reach outside ourselves and perform heroic deeds? What makes a hero? Or a villain? Are these heroes fueled by thoughts of the greater good? Or are they motivated by revenge and only strive to burn a path to the ones who hurt them and their families? We hope to answer all these questions and more just after the music. Welcome to Gaming with Scott. I'm here with Josh.
Hello.
And I am, of course, Scott. We're going to go through Josh's individual character creation for the Marvel superhero game that we are playing. Okay. How much do you know about Marvel? Like 1 to 10.
What rating are you going for on this thing, Scott?
PG.
PG. All right. Nothing. Very, very, very little. I didn't grow up reading the comics. I know the basics behind, Superman, Batman, that sort of thing. I've watched.
Now, how about the recent Marvel movies, like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, The Avengers? Have you seen those?
I've seen some of them. I haven't seen all of them religiously, but I've seen some of them. My knowledge is such that, for example, I know who Lex Luthor is, but when I brought him up as one of my contacts, John was like, "That's DC." And I was like, "Well, hell, I didn't know."
Right, and that's okay. Because I think Batman is really, really cool. I think Superman is really, really lame. I like the Flash. I like the Green Lantern. There are certain DC elements that I think are really, really. I like, Wonder Woman, yay! And I firmly believe there was a DC Marvel crossover at one point that I thought was really, really cool. There are a lot of people that have a lot of background, and there are some folks who are like, "Well, I love Marvel and I'm all over the place, but Batman is really, really cool." Because Batman is a staple, If I were to say Batman, you know who I'm talking about.
Right.
If I were to say The Dark Knight, do you know who I'm talking about?
Aren't they the same person?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Can you tell me the difference?
Isn't The Dark Knight like Batman's more violent side?
One is far darker than the other.
Right,
yes.
right.
And there is Batman is normally I'm Batman, yay. Dark Knight is I'll kill people.
Kind of like Spider-Man has emo Spider-Man, the black one.
That's actually a little different, but
okay.
That's Spider-Man and Venom.
Okay.
But that's okay. And this tells me where you are on that. Where you are on the whole.
I do read the occasional comic. I'm just picky. Like my favorite is Preacher. Derek turned me on to the Preacher comic series, and I adore that.
Right, and I think that is a fantastic series.
Yeah,
that tells me where I that tells me what I wanted to know. Because a lot of people are knowledgeable. Several people are not knowledgeable. I don't think you need to be overly knowledgeable to play in the world. I'm not going to make it like if you don't know this player character when I start describing, if you don't know this NPC when I start describing their outfit, then you're not at a loss.
Well, it's kind of cool because it allows me to react to it organically.
True. Fair enough. What do you see getting out of this game and the game world? What do you want to get out of it?
I'm coming to you for storytelling. I love telling a good story. The thing I think that made the Spider-Man movies good and these sorts of things is when you see the person as a person, not just a superhero. Mm-hmm. They've got depth, they've got hopes, they've got fears, they've got problems. All of these things bring, in my view, the superpowers sit as a backdrop. They're cool. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't want to go spend $20 to see a movie where nothing happens. But
like Godzilla? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to apologize for that. Moving on.
But no, they're really a backdrop for the human story that sits in front.
Okay.
And that's why I'm here, is because you are an ST that understands that concept. I mean, I really think it's why we like the Iron Man movie so much. It's not just because Tony Stark is witty and funny. It's because we actually see a person who has flaws, right? And watch them go through a journey and a process, part of which involves an awesome suit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Okay. What do you want to see out of the world or the universe that our story takes place in? There's a couple of different angles we can go with that, and there's a couple of different directions, but I want to let you pontificate for a minute.
well, I'm playing an anti-hero in a lot of ways. So I guess thematically is kind of what you're asking me.
In a way, yes.
I want to explore what justice is,
Okay.
because sometimes it surprises us.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and that's what I think. That's what I like about anti-hero stories, is they give us the chance to really get into that. Because I love those anti-hero stories where at the end they have the chance to pull the trigger and they don't take it. But if it's done right, you're okay with it by the time.
If they do?
Yeah.
If they do pull the trigger. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Now, scale. There are a couple of good comics that take place in the alley outside of a bar. And that's like, you see, that's where it takes place. And you can get a lot of run out of that from just the goings-on in that single alley for a day, a week, a month. There are other stories that have galactic implications. Different worlds, the universe is at stake, we save it all, we don't save it all. And those are hugely different in scope.
mm-hmm.
What are you looking for? Or what would you like to see? Because I've had answers all over the board so far.
I can go for either. But the thing I want is... I don't mind the epic scale. Sonos scripted. X-Men.
Right.
Right? I mean,
Right.
the fate of the world hangs in the balance.
Galactus and Thanos. And,
Right.
And, oh, geez, okay.
Right. I don't mind that at all. The thing I like about the alley behind the bar is almost always in those stories we're zooming in on the internals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the meat is for me. So if you want to go epic in scale, that's fine. I can roll with that. But don't take me completely out of the alley behind the bar.
Okay. Good answer. Do you want a bright, four-color world? Like, yes, everyone, it's joy, it's happy, it's Christmas time. Here's a picture of Captain America punching Hitler in the face. Or do you want that dark, graphic novel? It's blacks, it's whites, there's grays, it's dark.
Definitely more towards the latter. I mean, we don't have to go so deep. But the reality is I will, on an emotional level, reject the bright, campy, four-color world. I can't deal.
Why?
That's not real. That is nowhere close to real. It's one thing to ask me to suspend disbelief that superpowers exist and people have them and can use them and do all these things. But to go that far with it, you're asking me to suspend disbelief on what's in the human heart, in the human soul. Now, don't get me wrong, both things are there. The good stuff and the bad stuff. It's all there, but that's one reason why there's certain comics I can never get in. I hate Captain America so much.
Okay. But he's truth, justice, the American way.
First of all, he's everything that's wrong with the American psyche.
Do tell.
Okay. First of all, he's a Backstreet Boy. So culturally, we have this idea that beauty represents X. And in Captain America, we just see the male expression of it, and it's tall, it's chiseled, it's perfect. It's this person that couldn't possibly fight crime and hold this standard of perfect hair and perfect teeth and perfect everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't exist. I mean, and we're chained to trace, to chase it. To just chase it and chase it and chase it. And then there's the consumerism angle that's inherent in his model, whether people want to admit it or not.
Okay.
Right? Because Captain America protects property sometimes at the expense of protecting life. I've read enough of the comics to see this, and nobody wants to talk about it. Okay?
Okay.
Bugs the hell out of me. And then it's this whole, we bought in my opinion, to this idea that there is this America that is truth, that is justice, that is all of these things. Mm-hmm. My problem with Captain America is it assumes we ever had it.
What do you mean?
We've always been reaching for it. We've always been reaching for that ideal, but we've never had it. And our believing that we had it and lost it, or had it and still have it, that's horrible, the people who believe that, is the problem. We can't fix ourselves socially because we won't admit that we never had it.
So that'll, Lady Justice is blind. No, she's always been peeking a little.
She's always been on the take.
Okay.
Right. She's still a lady. don't get me wrong. Every now and again, she bows down and graces us, gives us a little kiss on the cheek, does the right thing. But overall, she's a dirty, dirty.
That's an interesting take, and I like the idea because I would agree on many of the points, especially from the stance of in the 40s and 50s, where at least now there is a mindset back, and I think it's sort of a halcyon remembrance of, oh, well, those were the good old days when, when we had truth and we had justice and it was all a great system and it all worked fine, and and everything, it was the American way, and we had that at one point. Mm-hmm. When even back then there was corruption, there was the politicians were doing what politicians do. There were programs that shouldn't have been stuff that was funded that was shouldn't, money was thrown around. There were backroom deals. There's always going to be a human element of corruption that even when the quote-unquote system, the truth, justice, and the American way are at its height, that still, everybody smoked, everybody didn't eat right, there was all kinds of, we like to think of it as fonder memories, the Great War, World War II, and when we went over and we beat the Nazis and we beat the Japs, and, that's a horrible way to say that, but that was the slang of the time, and that we fought the good war, when the idea of any war is bad. I mean, this war is not good in and of itself, but this was, quote, the good war, and it was, you're sitting here going, I like the counterpoint that you made that, hey, we never did have that. Let's entertain the idea that, gee, it wasn't this chiseled perfection, and that there are flaws, and there always have been.
And I don't dispute the ideal. I think it's a beautiful ideal, But the reality is that our relationship with America through Captain America is like the parent that has the child that is lying and stealing and doing drugs on the side and spinning out of control, but has the child so hyper idealized that they can't see it.
Well, for all of those little 8, 9, 10-year-old boys who are those scrawny little kids, shouldn't they want to grow up to be Steve Rogers, Captain America, the chiseled super soldier that's Dirk Squarejaw, Sledge Rip Rock? Isn't that the ideal?
Well, no.
Why not?
Well, first of all, I mean, if you want to get literal with it, I mean, we live in a world of evolution, and evolution teaches us two things. One, the generalist always wins, right?
Okay.
So you shouldn't have such a narrow band for what you're capable of.
Okay.
And two, you shouldn't have such a narrow band of what is noble to achieve. I mean, it's beating the drum that...
So do you categorize yourself as an idealist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if I wasn't an idealist, I would just shut up. I would go make money, and I would be almost hedonistic, and I wouldn't give a damn.
Just 2 fists of dollars and rolling around in a pile full of whatever your choice of bedmate would be. And,
if I didn't care, I'd have better things to do. I mean,
fair enough. And that's a good little delve. I kind of like that, and that gives me interesting ideas for directions to take this. That's especially an answer to the bright color world or deep dark graphic novel, because even in the bright colored, what you're making the statement is even in the bright 4-colored world, that's not the truth. Right. I mean, the dark graphic novel, Punisher is not necessarily the truth either.
Right.
But, the idea of, yes, this is perfection and this is the ideal. Because I'll tell you what, one thing that I came to find, and it was an amazing epiphany, was I was on the football team in high school, and I was very geeky. I built my first PCXT in 1982 by hand from parts. Put that all together, and I came to learn between that point in time and now that the geeks of the world run the world. If you're a geek and you're smart and you've got the skills, you're going to go out and end up running things. And the folks who are the Dirk Squarejaw, Sledge Rip Rocks are going to end up pumping your gas. Stay in school, kids.
That's what the world is becoming. We're not fully there quite yet. Right now, what we have is the vanguard of nerds who did end up in that role.
Right.
The Zuckerbergs and
the Bill Gateses and
they're there. But in a lot of companies, a lot of firms, you'll still see a department where all the brilliant people are on tier 2, and right above them is the square jaw, who, the old model's still there, but it's slowly being rooted out, mainly because the nerds are starting to sack up and go get.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. That's an okay. That is a fully. We recommend on the that you sack up. Yes, no, that is perfectly fine. He looked at the mic like, oh, am I allowed to say that? Yes, perfectly allowed to say that. It's perfectly good.
But they're ultimately taking the reins of capital ownership.
Right.
Right. And that's what's making all the difference. Now, you'd like to say, hopefully one day we'll live in a world where the smart people rule and Plato can have his dream, right?
They have philosopher kings. Wouldn't that be great?
But there's still another hurdle, which is even though the nerds are taking the reins of capital ownership, they're still subservient to the financiers. That's the second hurdle.
Yeah.
Right? The financiers are still running the show.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, what level of personal horror are you looking for? Level, 1 being la 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 la, and level 10 being, oh dear God, we're in a Cthulhu game that we know we're all going to die. It's the end of the first 4 game sessions and we've lost half the party already, oh dear Lord. Wait, you want me to stick my hand in a rock crusher? Okay, so between 1 and 10.
I'd say 6 or 7. Okay. Any lower than that, and we're hitting Cthulhu territory, and that's not my bag.
Right.
Because, don't get me wrong, as much as I like to keep it real, I want to tell a hero story.
Fair enough.
Ultimately, anti-hero is still a hero.
Okay. Fair enough. What level of inclusion of other Marvel superheroes do you want to see? In other words, we want to see there was 5 minutes of, on one level we've got, actually let's go to the other level. On one level, I'm a member of Professor Xavier's X-Men, and yes, the whole team is here, and yay! That would be a 10, and 1 would be, well, we saw the Osprey for 5 minutes, and then everything else was like Wrench Man and Toad Girl. Like, I don't know who the hell these people are, but we saw the Osprey for a couple of minutes, and he's a real character.
Right.
I don't even know if you know who the Osprey is, but
no.
Moving on. Okay.
Well, I'd say a 3 or 4. I don't mind if they poke in occasionally, but, I really like I really like the team and the characters that we have set up, so I want to keep the focus there. Because I'm not such a huge comic person, I don't get that kind of
giggly high.
Yeah, the celebrity effect when Wolverine walks into frame. Well, maybe Wolverine. I mean, Hugh Jackman. Come on.
Oh, he's cool.
But no. So every now and again, it'd be fun to have one roll through. But if it's a constant thing, I'll just be like,
okay. So. All right, fair enough. That's good. Tell me about your character. What's your character's name?
Ooh, one thing I should say before I get into that.
Yes, go.
My actual favorite comic book hero, it's funny that you brought it up, is the Punisher.
Okay.
Now, the Punisher, I have read a lot of his, and I fell in love with him when I was a kid.
Because that can get dark.
Yeah, no, yeah. The thing I liked so much about the Punisher was here was a guy who doesn't actually have superpowers.
Right.
Right? He's just a person, I dig those stories more than any others.
Well, then let me explore this for a minute. Is that what you lean toward? Because I'm hearing the Punisher. I've heard Iron Man, Tony Stark.
Sure.
Just a human.
Yeah.
Batman. Just a human. You're listing off a group of superheroes here. Okay, Wolverine is Wolverine. Hugh Jackman is just cool. Wolverine doesn't have a ton of superpowers. I mean, he's not like Vision or Martian Man or Superman or...
What are we dealing with? We're dealing with the claws. We're dealing with the skeleton. We're dealing with regeneration.
Right.
And he seems to be able to smell things.
Right.
Right. Beyond that,
that's
not
it.
Much, right? That's
it.
Yeah.
He's indestructible. He heals and he can track stuff. Smell.
Yeah.
So you're naming, but especially with the first 3, the Punisher, Iron Man, Batman, as favorites. The idea being these are normal guys who either have a lot of smarts, a lot of money, a lot of guns, a lot of drive between the 3 of them. Is that your favorite?
Yeah.
In general?
In general, that's, I guess, in the superhero universe, that's my favorite story.
Why?
I like the idea that people are capable of more than what they think they're capable of. I believe in that more than I believe in anything.
So we could all be superheroes
Yeah.
if we chose to be?
Yeah.
It's just that these examples stepped out and did it?
Yeah. They are windows for us to see what's possible for ourselves. In a sense. I don't have the capability right now to build Iron Man's suit.
Right.
I suppose if I wanted to, I could figure it out over a long enough timeline, and I'd have to be really, really, really motivated. I mean,
Well, but you could get a bunch of body armor, some black spray paint,
Sure.
kit yourself up and lose a lot of sleep out there fighting crime.
well, aren't there those people that are actually doing that
Yes.
out there?
Yes, they
Like,
are.
I read something about that the other day. That they said, you know what, our neighborhoods are going to crap, and for the sake of protecting my family, because I don't want these criminals following me, I'm just gonna have fun with this. I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna stand up for my neighborhood, and I'm gonna wear a silly little costume, you know, and they literally ran with that. And there is something, yes, inherently cheesy, but also inherently noble in that.
Right.
I mean, but yeah, that's why.
Okay, good. So tell me about your character.
Okay.
What's your character name? Usually at the top, but you didn't have to put it up there.
I didn't write it down. No, and it was really good too. It was like Max Power. It was like not Max Power, but it was something that was kind of nifty like that.
All right, you're going to have to get that. All right, let's skip to the next section.
Okay.
So tell me about your character.
Okay. The man is the story of brilliance and hubris more than anything. Incredibly intelligent. Also, unfortunately, incredibly aware of the gap between himself and most other people. That's the thing I don't like about him. I actually don't like his hubris. I mean, he believes that he, unlike me, who I like to think that I'm capable of more than I think I'm capable of, right? Mm-hmm. He thinks he's actually capable of more than he is capable of. I mean, he overestimates himself in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Primarily specialized in nanotechnology and biotech.
Okay.
Right? We went into this in background. He ended up taking a job with this company. And what I've decided is that he took the job with this company to have access to the lab and the nanotech, because what he was actually looking for was a cure for spinal cancer.
Okay.
Right? Because he was trying to save his wife.
Okay.
Okay. So taking this job with this research project for Nimbus, right, was directly tied to him being able to
So to save your wife.
right,
Spine cancer.
to save my wife from spinal cancer. Now, what he was doing is he was taking the job. He took the job without knowing what they wanted him to work on, but he was basically going to be given access to technology and equipment that he could have not gained access to otherwise. And he could then and was using that technology and equipment to also research that.
Okay.
And the two projects overlapped anyway, because so much of Nimbus for him was finding a way to get the neural pathways to communicate with the hive that had the nanites. I mean, that was a lot of his work.
Okay. Now, what is Nimbus? Tell me about Nimbus. You have a bunch on them?
Nimbus, it is an acronym. It's Neurally Implanted Military Binary Upgrade System.
Neurally? Okay, go ahead.
And what it is it was supposed to be a module that could be implanted and then later removed in a tactical assets skull, right?
Uh-huh.
Tactical asset as opposed to soldier, because, for all he knows, they were going to be private security. He has no idea.
Okay.
Private forces. And the hub was the center of nanites that were going to augment the soldier in multiple ways. They didn't realize how far he was going to be able to get. What they had originally contracted him for was nanites that would boost the immune system, boost strength, boost endurance, all these sorts of things. He handed them that and then some.
Okay.
Right?
Now, is this an attempt at competition for the super soldier formula?
I don't know what that is.
That's what made Steve Rogers Captain America.
Oh, anything that makes Captain America look bad.
Nice. Well, then maybe.
No,
Okay.
well, that's He doesn't know, so I don't want to know.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the thing. The challenge is I want to find things out as he finds them out.
Okay. So who was the company?
Literally, he does not know. Not inherently. Now, Marty had brought up the idea of it being Hydra or
Hydra.
yeah, that he was working for, but he does not know this was a top secret facility where all of that was deliberately kept hidden.
Could have as easily been S.H.I.E.L.D.
Could have been. Not likely, though, because several of his experiments were ridiculously unethical in a way that I can't see S.H.I.E.L.D. even remotely supporting.
Fair enough. Have you seen the most recent Captain America, Winter Soldier?
No.
Okay. Then good.
Okay. So, wait, I should wait? I should not watch
No,
it now?
no, you can watch it. That'd be great.
Okay.
It wouldn't matter one way or the other.
S.H.I.E.L.D. being shady in that one, is that?
In that movie, and I don't think, spoiler alert, I'm not giving too much away, that Hydra has infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. And been using a bunch of their resources and stuff, and S.H.I.E.L.D. comes apart.
Wow. Okay.
So when you say, could it have been Hydra? Maybe. Could it have been S.H.I.E.L.D.? I don't know. I doubt it's a little shady. And then when you step back and look at those two questions, you go, oh, so it could have been either, because Hydra was all up in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
So, meh. Okay. They're like, could it have been? So what I really asked you is, when I said, could it be Hydra, could it be S.H.I.E.L.D., as I said, could it be Hydra? And then you went, meh. And then I said, could it be Hydra? You went, oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Okay. But no, he doesn't know. He has no idea who he was working for or whatever. You've allowed me to put Lex Luthor into my backstory as one of my contacts.
Uh-huh. Tell me that part of your background.
Well, as we had discussed it, my character may or may not have been responsible for Superman's death. Nobody knows how Superman died, but basically about 9 months or so before Superman died, Lex Luthor had contacted my character, okay, wanting him to create a polymer plastic coating that could essentially be used as the capsule that kryptonite could be inserted into in time-release pill form.
Oh, that sounds nasty.
So he successfully developed it, right? And then, 9 months later, Superman, dies. Maybe he had something to do with that. Maybe he didn't.
Meh.
Who knows what Lex wanted it for?
Right. Sure.
But following successful completion of that project, right, a couple months later, through one of Lex's associates, he got contacted about this job, and then the offer came very cloak and dagger, very shady, but he jumped all over it.
Okay.
I mean, it came with an exorbitant salary, full benefits package, full medical care for his wife and family. Everything was taken care of. It was a deal with the devil, and he gobbled it right up and didn't look back.
Okay. Well, then you're on easy street. Everything is great. You are wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So what changed?
Well, on the night that he had the breakthrough, because, one of the things he was doing was recreating spinal cancer in these laboratory animals and then using nanites to attempt to locate and remove the cells. He actually finally cracked it and cured 2 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
On that night, he's ecstatic, and he's going home to kind of relay the news. I mean, he's not ready for human testing yet, but, he's ready to tell her. And he went into the house and was doing his fatherly obligations, getting the kids tucked in, that whole thing. And then he went to take out the trash, and he heard something, and he walked over, and out of nowhere, this assassin attacks him. It comes out of nowhere. And I can't remember what we decided, Scott. I think there was a kind of a fluke of luck. The assassin tripped on something or something like that and knocked himself over, and then my character was able to seize it. And I think we said that the assassin then fled or something. I can't remember how.
I thought he was heading through the house, and you headed one way, he headed the other.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Damn, that was good too. I can't. Well, long story short, for the listeners, he comes home, he's doing his thing. his family gets wiped out by this assassin. Totally clever, totally killed. And he himself is mortally wounded. And he goes to get medical care, but this town where he's working, it's a small town, it's a company town, whatever this company is. He goes to get medical care, and there are agents for the company there at the hospital, and they're looking for him, essentially. And that's how he figures out that the company is not only aware of what's happened, but they're trying to bring him in a certain sort of sense. So he realizes he can't go there and get treatment. So he goes back to his lab. And in sort of a last-ditch effort, Nimbus was not ready. It was still beta. It was still in animal trials, and in fact, the animals were still dying because the unit wouldn't take.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of in an act of desperation, and I kind of have this neat way of envisioning the scene where basically these units will implant Nimbus automatically into monkeys, and so basically he has to rip everything out and then kind of hold himself in the air while he tries to position his head exactly right on the insertion unit. And he implants Nimbus in himself. I mean, it's not only bold, it probably shouldn't have worked, but it did.
Okay.
Nimbus is now inside of him, and the nanites, obviously one of the suit's powers is regeneration. So the nanites can repair his wounds and that sort of thing. He flees from there. Right now he is sleeping and recovering in a shipping container. He's nervous, he's jittery, he's feverish, he has the shakes. He's scared. He thinks his immune system might be rejecting the nanites. He's not exactly sure. This is not a positive process that he's going through. And that's basically the backstory as I have it.
Okay.
As I remember.
So you're an anti-hero.
Correct.
Generally with an anti-hero, you've got the hero here. You've got the target of whatever it is the anti-hero is targeting. Okay, for Frank Castle, you've got Frank down here. You've got the mobsters that ordered his family's head up here. And he's going to plow through everything to get there. And if folks are helping, folks are getting in the way, folks are...
Man on fire style, right?
Right.
The company, but he has to figure that out.
Okay.
That's the thing. He has to find out who he's been working for and what's going on. So there's a mystery that he has to unravel to know who to take this out on. Now, one interesting storytelling thing we can get into is there's so much rage there that I see it very likely and very human that as you're trying to unravel this mystery, you're eventually hitting points where you're going, you know what, I don't know if this group is responsible or this group is responsible, so screw them both, and you're going to take some pot shots at them, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the story, right, I mean, finding out it was Team A and not Team B makes all those Team B acts look not so hot, right? So there's, interesting angles there.
Okay. So let's go through your character sheet, nuts and bolts.
All right.
Let's go over the physical. That's the FASE. Your fighting, agility, strength, and endurance. What's your fighting?
75.
Nice, monstrous. What's your agility?
Well, now the fighting with him isn't, because he's not a very physical character.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, he's a brain pan. But what it is the nanites enhance his cerebral activity.
Okay.
And because he was basically given full access to military databases, he learned a lot about tactics as he was developing Nimbus. And that's what you're seeing with him. He is outthinking his opponents.
Okay.
More than anything else. That's how I'm going to play that.
Okay.
His agility is 50.
Okay.
Strength is a paltry 20.
Okay.
And endurance is 40.
Okay. What's your total health?
185.
Okay. 185. Let's talk about your mental capacity, your reason, intuition, and psyche.
Reason is 100.
Nice. Smart guy.
Yeah. Intuition is 50.
Uh-huh.
Not a people guy, right?
So your wits, I got an idea sort of thing, as
Okay.
opposed to reason, which is a pure breakdown of, well, let's think this out. Let's scientific method this.
Right. The heuristic versus the algorithm kind of thing.
Right.
Okay. Psyche 75.
Okay. Now, one thing that I want to do here, one thing that I want to take a look at, since we know you don't like Captain America, let's look at.
I mean,
you.
he fights with a shield, Scott. That's his thing.
He does. That's not horrible, is it? You gotta have a shield, right?
I'm a Backstreet Boy who fights with a disc. Let's not glorify it. It's a flippin' disc.
That makes me sad. Okay. Let's take a look at Spider-Man. Okay? And actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and take a look at your powers. Let's go through your powers now that we've got that. And we'll compare this all to Spider-Man. You'd put it basically, sort of in the middle, right?
Okay.
I mean, are you... Yes, no, maybe. I mean, Spider-Man's your
Except
average
for
run-of-the-mill.
heart, Scott.
Except for hearts, right. He's your average run-of-the-mill. We'll take a look at him here in a second. Let's go through your power listing.
Okay. I have armored skin.
At power rank
75.
75.
Which, we never got it. My understanding was that there are ways for me to take weaknesses or limitations that could boost those or something like that. So we might get into that at some point. I don't know.
Correct.
Regeneration at 100.
Okay. Now, the basis for your power, your power base is your normal human.
Right.
Who ends up getting Nimbus installed, and that's the wellspring from where these abilities come from.
Correct.
Okay.
They are nanite technologically derived.
Okay. So we had armored skin. We got regeneration at power rank 100.
Correct.
Which is pretty darn good.
Yeah. Disruption 75.
Okay. Now what does that do?
Basically, he sends out the nanites. What he has done is the nanites, utilizing string theory, create a harmonic burst that you actually can't hear. It's dead silent. It's very creepy when he uses his power, actually. Mm-hmm. And what it does is it physically cracks the strings inside the atoms of whatever it is that he's destroying. It literally causes a micronuclear pop. Right?
Disrupting the atoms themselves.
Correct.
Okay. At power rank what again?
75.
Okay. Ow. Go ahead.
Stealth at 75.
Okay.
Collection at 75. Same theory, except now what he's doing is the nanites are creating harmonics that are actually attracting the strings of whatever he's trying to pull in. Okay. For those elements, substances, and that's where the brain power comes in, because he gets really on the fly with that, depending on what he's trying to collect.
Okay.
So it's one thing if you say collect gold, because if you think about it on a certain level, he just has to create a harmonic that, magnetics is not the right word, but kind of magnetically pulls in gold strings.
Right.
But what if he wants to collect leaves? That's a much more complex thing that he has to pull off there and do, because we're talking about a whole organic compound with component parts and that sort of thing.
Fair enough. Excellent. And what level's your collection at again?
75.
Okay.
Penetration vision at 50.
Nice.
Easy enough to understand there. And then resist emotion at 40. The suit was supposed to be implanted in soldiers, so part of it was to regulate emotional swings and emotional extremes, to make adrenaline more controlled consciously within the person, and that sort of thing. That's where that's coming from.
Okay.
The nanites are actually interacting with the cerebrum in a lot of ways.
Nice.
And then suspended animation at 30. He was piloting it. It was meant so that when soldiers were in transit, they could literally just be in transit.
Nice. There'd be a packing crate.
Right.
So what happens with suspended animation?
I hadn't thought about that.
No. I'm saying suspended animation, the power. Do you know what it specifically it does?
Yeah, it shuts me down such that I don't need anything. I don't need air. I don't need food. I don't need water. I don't need anything for that period of time. You could shoot me into space and bring me back.
Nice.
And I'd be okay. As long as you could reheat me properly from the cold and vacuum of space.
Well, that's what reentry does.
Right.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, it's also good, too, because if he gets into a situation where he's got the suit on, but, for example, something happens that knocks him out to where he's stuck in the suit, he can suspended animate so that he doesn't suffocate and die while he's trying to figure it out.
Right. Okay. There's a suit.
It's not a suit, technically speaking. It's armored skin. So it would look like Terminator 2 liquid metal
Okay.
that just sort of flows out from his pores, but it's the nanites coming out and creating the suit,
The barrier. Okay.
on his skin.
Now, full faceplate?
I was going to go with that, yes.
Okay. All right. Just curious.
I mean,
Curious.
He could technically mold it however he likes. If I wanted to, I could do a whole Rorschach thing
Nice.
with the face.
Always good. Okay. Next?
That's it.
Or was that the end? Okay.
That's the end. Oh, resources 150.
Okay. We were going to get to those in just a bit. Resources 150. How do we have a resource that is so incredibly high that makes Tony Stark look poor?
Okay. Well, first of all, you got to understand with this collection power. I mean, he can collect gold,
Uh-huh.
and you've seen the price of gold.
You're going to ruin the economy. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But he can speculate on futures, and he can write programs and algorithms that automate that speculation. So this guy can pull money out of thin air, literally. He can,
Right.
So it's not. It's definitely the resources 150 is supposed to represent the fact that now for him, the world on a financial level is just it's a candy store.
Okay. Okay. What talents do you have?
Let's see. Chemistry polymers,
Okay.
espionage demolitions.
Okay.
All right. There was a reason for that. Part of it was his experience with the military projects. There was a reason he had learned so much about demolitions as part of his research. I want to say it was early stage fabrication
Okay.
for the nanites, because the nanites are actually diamond compound based, so he had to learn how to do these things to split different alloys and things. But
Okay.
and then he's got human encyclopedia. So what we had worked out was he shifts columns, 2 columns, for reason feeds.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime he can also access either his assistant, his Jarvis, he has kind of like a Jarvis, or the internet.
Okay.
As an information bank. If he can do either one of those things, he can shift 2 columns for reason feed.
And he's connecting with whatever the interface is for either, and then the nanobytes are transferring information, you're transferring information, and you're running a search that 100 different windows, and you're sorting and filtering and pulling and pulling up different knowledge and information. Okay. Was that it for your talents?
Yes.
Contacts.
Okay. So we had decided Grant Newman, who's the head of medical research at IU Hospital.
Okay.
That's how he was getting a lot of his test subjects to work on.
Okay.
He was also doing some work in the beginning with cadavers, because the early problems with the nanites were that they were just destroying all tissue.
Right.
So it's best to do that. And then he's got Kenji Mohimoto.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is a triad-connected fixer and supplier. A lot of the things, materials, substances, yada, 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 that he needs for his research and such over time have been flat out illegal. Kenji was his roommate in college. That's how he knows him now.
Okay.
And Kenji is the one who would make that happen.
Okay.
And then, of course, there is the Lex Luthor contact.
Okay. Excellent. We have discussed him already. Anything on your sheet that you have any questions about? Anything where you're like,
No. The only real thing I had was talking to you about, I wanted to boost his armored skin, but didn't know how that thing worked on trading it off for a weakness or anything like that.
Okay.
I have no idea.
All right, before we jump into that, I want to do a quick
okay.
comparison. And we'll talk about limitations here in a bit. Let's take a look at Spider-Man,
Okay.
a.k.a. Peter Parker, relatively mid-range, good guy.
Okay.
Okay? Let's take a look at his stats versus yours. Your fighting is at a...
75.
His is at a remarkable 30.
Wow. Okay.
Okay? Your agility,
50. He's got to have me beat.
his is at an amazing 50.
No way I am as agile as Spider-Man.
Yes, you are.
That's the nanites.
Your strength,
20.
his is at 40.
Okay.
Your endurance,
40.
His is at 40.
Okay. Wow. He's fit. I'm not. That's amazing. Okay.
Right. His health is 160. Yours?
185.
So you're even healthier than Spider-Man.
Okay.
Okay. Now, his reason is excellent at 20. Yours is 100.
Yeah.
His intuition is good at 10. Yours is
50.
50. And his psyche is incredible at 40.
Wow. Okay.
And yours is
75.
75. Yeah. So when you take just sort of a middle of the line kind of guy like Wolverine, his fighting is 40.
Wow.
His agility is 30. His strength is 10. His endurance is 30 for a total health of 110. His reason is typical 6. His intuition is monstrous at 75, and his psyche is 40. When you get into brain, folks...
Or like Professor X or something like...
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Professor X's fighting is poor at 4. His agility is good at 10. His strength is typical at 6, and his endurance is remarkable at 30, for a health of 50. His reason is incredible at 40.
Wow.
His intuition is amazing at 50, and his psyche is monstrous at 75.
Okay, that puts that in perspective.
There you go. So when you've got folks who you just think, when you're thinking, wow, I'm terribly underpowered. No, actually the shift is the group as a whole is a little bit overpowered.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we're going to take the first session, maybe the first couple sessions, learning where we are. And there's going to be a lot of tension between the group, starting out initially. We have one character that is way over here, Guardian Angel, such a goody two-shoes that if anybody looks sideways at doing anything bad to another human being, he's going to be all over it. You're willing to shoot down an entire company full of people. Or whoever runs the company made the decision, that will, of course, all funnel up in a pyramid to 1 or 2 people.
Okay.
Which, understandably, they had the company. They were the one that wanted to push this forward.
Okay.
The idea of, they're all in that building. We'll just burn that down. Likely not going to happen when Guardian Angel goes, but the loss of innocent life. And you're going to make the argument, they're not all innocent. And he's going to go, well, some of them are. One of them is, maybe, at least. And there's going to be that. At the other end of that spectrum is Marty's character, who really has his own thing that he's hunting down, and he is having, I don't want to say a hard time, but he's having a time of it with the standpoint of, I'll just burn everybody to the ground between here and there. Like, it's on the north side? Great. Everybody north of, say, Washington Street. Just kill them all. I know I'll hit my target if I kill everybody up there.
Gotcha.
And so you're going to be more towards the middle, but your anti-hero aspects may or may not cause some of the other characters to go, whoa, we don't kill anybody, not even the bad guy that killed your family.
Are you kidding?
And there's going to be the interplay of, wait a minute, you don't understand. This killed my wife, this killed my son, this killed my daughter, this killed my freaking dog. This dude's going to die. So there's going to that will be interplay.
Okay. Now, I understand that I hate doing this to STs, but my character will not hesitate to walk away from these people.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
That's perfectly fine.
Which I understand that I take risks in doing that, splitting the party, and, well, then when Hydra completely surrounds you, you're going to have a problem. I get that.
Right.
I get that.
Right. No, and I have no pretend. And I fully expect there's one character that wants to put everybody together to form a team. Hooray! And everybody else gives me that look. We're like, really? I don't... seriously? There will be intrinsic hooks that are going to be in most of the bad guys, who are going to be like, sure, you can gladly walk away. And then, but the bad guy they're going to go get may have information that ties into the company.
Okay.
Go ahead, walk away. No, go ahead. You can stay at home for this one. And the idea being, oh, great, all right. Or maybe they go get him and bring him back and they hold him so you can interrogate him to find out where the next step in the ladder is. I don't know how that's going to play out.
Okay.
That's between you and the group. And somebody wants to forge this into a well-oiled machine, and there are a couple of other people in the group who are like, no, I'm not part of a team. We don't need to do this. No, we're all in the same relative geographic area, and if stuff starts happening, I may or may not get involved with that. That's between you and them. Doesn't bother me in the least. Okay. And if everybody goes off in their own direction, in 5 different directions, that's okay with me. Okay. It'll be a little more difficult for me as a storyteller, but not really. Okay. Because most of the group, 3 of the 5 are playing heroes, and the idea is, okay, well, there's a giant monster downtown that knocked over a building. Well, I'll guarantee you those 3 are going to show up. You may or may not want to show up from the standpoint of, well, what's the building? Ooh, I know the company owned that, and there'll be records in the bottom, and I may not necessarily fight the monster, but holy shit, I'm going to maraud the bottom. I'm going to maraud the basement. I want access to those servers, and that building just happened to get knocked down. I can walk in now. Mm-hmm. You're like, I'm here. Oh, you're here to save people and be part of the team. Sure. Okay. You guys, you know what? I'm going to check the rubble. Just make sure there aren't anybody trapped in the basement area. Yeah. Okay. See? Go team.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
And there may or may not be hooks, and every one of them won't happen. I mean, I'll guarantee you, not everything you do is not going to be related to the company out of the box. Most of it will, because that's your main focus. That's the direction you want to go. And I'm actually going to tie that in with another character and not tell you about it until later when you find out, well, what are you doing here? Well, I'm here tracking this, this, and this. Wait a minute, 2 of those things I need. What's your involvement with the company? So that will come to light as well.
Okay.
So it'll be good overall. I'm okay at herding cats. I mean, you can stay at home. It's all right. That may not be safe. But sure.
Well, that was one complication I wanted to run by you.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing about this guy is that the stories, yeah, we all want to root for somebody who's trying to avenge their family.
Yay!
Right. But it's not compelling enough as it stands, because if you stop and think about it for a second, with the regeneration power being what it is, technically he has infinite time, and that's the problem.
Yep.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, because he could then slowly sit and just bide his time and not have to do anything risky, which is not what good stories are about.
Sure.
So, like I said, the nanites were in beta. I currently have no lab, no research equipment, nothing. The only way for me to modify the nanites is to use the nanites to modify each other. But the character hasn't, he's just got this thing jammed in his head.
Right.
He hasn't learned how to talk to it.
Uh-huh.
To them, to the hive, to the nanites quite effectively yet. So, first of all, he's like,
right.
He's kind of jittery.
Uh-huh.
His nervous system has been invaded, right?
Uh-huh.
What if, as things currently stand, out of the gate with the story, the nanites are, yes, regenerating him, but at a tissue level are very slowly destroying him at the same time.
Way ahead of you.
Now there's a clock.
Way ahead of you.
Cool.
I'm going to go a different direction.
Okay.
Similar, but different.
Cool.
Yeah, you've got nanites in you that you've just injected that haven't adapted to your system, that were originally programmed for animals, not humans. You're in beta. Oh, trust me. Okay. Trust me. Okay. I've got like a table full of things that I'm going to do for you. They're going to be like, awesome. Yes, we're going to do this. Suddenly you have flight, and you begin to fly. Wait, what? Into a building, and then you fall down. And then you go, what? And then you can't move. But it's okay. They're learning. It might have been for a wombat. Who knew?
You're a punk for making it flight, dude, because that's the one thing I wanted to roll.
And then you're going to be like, oh, my God, I need to be able to simulate that. And I don't know what happened. I can't fly anymore. Damn it. Might be any number of things that I've just sat at home thinking of. Oh, he'll love this.
Backstory, I wanted flight really, 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 really bad during character gen, and it was the one thing I just couldn't roll. Loved everything else that I rolled, just couldn't roll flight. I was bummed out. So.
Which is a great segue. What'd you think about the character gen process?
You know what? I see it.
Selective randomization.
I see it both ways. Because on the one hand, I didn't know about how character gen worked with this, so I had these ideas.
Oh, this was not the standard character gen. I came up with this on my own. This is not in the book.
Oh,
this
really?
is like the book says that you just go, I want to be Iceman, so I'm going to take a bunch of ice powers. Yay. I do it a completely different way.
ultimately, I liked it. I was butthurt at first.
Mm-hmm.
And I was butthurt at first because I'm used to, as a player, I get a character concept, and then I look at the rule system, and I select things. And, yeah, I'm even trying to min-max a little bit.
Sure.
And yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Coming in and finding out how you were doing it, I was, upset because all the concepts I had to just chuck. I mean, because I don't know what I'm going to end up with here. You know?
True.
Now, so that was the negative, right? In the end, though, I really liked it. Because, first of all, I was ginormously butthurt when I rolled normal human. Right? Because I wanted to be like an alien or something.
Right, yeah, you want to be something out there. Out purple skin.
But when I rolled normal human and said, you know what, no, okay, I'm just going to run with it. I'm just going to run with this. It was really cool that rolling for the type and then rolling for the powers then forced me to explain it, right? Explain, that's how Nimbus and Nanites even came into the picture because I'm trying to tie together these powers. And the fact that this is an ordinary human, and how the hell does that happen? And boom, it just mushroomed into a person with depth, precisely because I had no control over what was put on the plate. I think it forced better characters. It really, really did.
Which is why I did it.
Yeah.
The Rico's character, Rico had a concept when he came in, and early in the character gen, it got bludgeoned. Very similar to yeah, I know exactly what I want to do. I want a space cowboy with, wait, what? Mm-hmm. How I did? And his was, he wanted to play the pure defensive, body armor, kinetic absorption. I can take a hit. I can have a building fall on me, and it's not going to hurt me. I want to stand in front of the people and absorb the bullets and the missiles and the cosmic radiation and just the lasers just off my skin, and I go, okay, run to safety, people. Ha-ha. In essence, he wanted to play the Thing.
Yeah.
Okay? That's boring.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, I can take hits. Then you've got Superman and Abomination just...
Well, it's
or
just
Superman and Doomsday just chucking it. The Hulk and Abomination just trading punches in the face, and you're going, okay, that can be cool graphically, but really, how much is that story? Well, they punched each other in the face nonstop, back and forth for 2 hours, and then one of them fell over. Great, let's read that again. They punched each other for 2 hours and one of them fell over. Do you want it the third time? That's not really a compelling story.
Well, it's also how Rico thinks. Rico's very much a guy who is so full of love.
Oh, yeah.
That when he's on a team, he literally throws his ego out the window.
Yeah, I know.
And says,
I'm going, what? I didn't even know what you just said.
Says, how can I do the thing for the team that nobody else wants to do? I mean, this is literally how he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? What was cool about that, though, is when he rolled up that character, the same personality trait got expressed. It just got expressed on a broader scope.
Right.
Because this character is thinking the same thing for the whole planet.
Yeah.
Right.
So what it did is it kind of gave you came in with the preconceived notions of, well, this is the character that I want to play. This is what I want to do. And then I went, well, here's a power you can take. Pick one or the other. Okay, now let's do that again. So it wasn't like you had no control.
Yeah.
But really, the two that came up could have been like, well, gosh, I don't even know how either of those would. Well, pick one. Or if they came up and they were really cool, you can pick both. But you you lose the random on the second one. Okay, now let's do that again. Lather, rinse, repeat. So it forces you then, like you said, you get the different things put on the plate. Now I got to make a character out of this.
Yeah.
And I got to come up with a backstory. And I got to think, well, how am I going to tie this together? And I'm a normal human, so I can't just go, well, because the planet we were born on, we could all look through lead. Ha, 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 ha.
Exactly.
And you're going, how do I... And it forces you to build a better character.
Yeah.
And that's because I don't like two-dimensional characters. I'm the Thing. I hit... It's clobbering time. That's great.
Yeah.
You got to have a brawler. You got to have a bruiser. Sure. However... That's not the best story, Oh, it's a bad guy. I hit it! My first Marvel character had a strength of 125. And because I had spent karma up from 100, and I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it again. I'm going to hit it some more. And that was basically all I did. And it got somewhat boring. Mm-hmm. I tried to spice it up. We had a group at the table that was thrown into an arena to fight other bad guys. And one of them was this dude he was a robot, and he transformed from a man into a giant spider. And I'm like, okay, sure, great, whatever. That was his character concept. That's what he wanted to do. That was wonderful. So I picked him up by the legs. I gathered all of his legs up and used him as a club to hit other players.
I'm so angry, I'll beat a person with another person.
Right. And he was so peeved because I cracked him once, and I cracked him twice, and I cracked him the third time, and he was down to 10 health. And then I just chucked him over my shoulder and was like, "You're no good. Come on. I thought you'd be a more durable spider than that." And then just started punching things with my face.
I need a better rage vessel.
Yes, he was so pissed that because he had like repair, but it was at like 6 or 10. So he was just sitting over for the rest of the fight going, zzz, zzz, computer repairing, and he was out of the fight. It was horrible. And he had like web slinging and all these other things, but he just sat there and repaired. And that was all he could do. So, but that story doesn't have the depth of
what I think this is going to have. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So any other questions, any other things, anything else you want to go over? I've gotten some meat out of this. It's good.
No. Starting off at a karma of 225. And, do we remember we did the round robin?
Huh?
Do we need to talk about what happened there, or are you okay?
Not particularly. Now, karma. Okay, you can spend that for advancement.
Okay.
Okay, you're aware of that. You know you can also spend it in combat.
No.
A point to go over. Okay, here's how this works. You can spend karma on the fly to modify rolls.
Oh, cool.
Okay? You need to do it in the following format. You need to say, "I want to spend karma." The minute you say that, you have spent 10 karma. Sentence comes out of your mouth, you just spent 10. Let's mark that off. You then spend it on the next roll you make.
You have to do it before the roll.
You have to do it before the roll.
You can't see the result and then go,
No.
I want to spend a karma, I want to spend karma, I want to spend a karma. Success!
No.
Okay.
You can say, "I want to spend karma to," and this is one of my favorite examples, and it will just anger you. Yay!
To help Captain America?
How do you think he bounces his shield off of 3 guys, the wall, and brings it back? Is he says, "All right, well, for each target
American exceptionalism?
for each target I want to hit, it's a column shift to the left." So he's going down the scale. So he says, "I want to spend karma. Roll. Okay, I want that to be a 99, and I'm at 49. So I spent my original 10, plus 40 more to get me 50 that I needed to take it from 49 to 99.
Okay.
So that original 10 you spend is part of what you
declare.
need to get. Okay, if he rolled a 98, he would still spend 10, even though he needed to spend 1.
Right.
Okay? So if he's at 49 and he wants it to be 99, he says, "I want to spend karma," rolls his dice, says, "I need to spend 40 more beyond the 10 that I first spent," and he spends 50 total, marks it off the karma.
Okay.
Now, that can also be used to buy more powers, like flight, or whatever power you'd like to buy moving forward, as long as you can justify it with the character.
Okay.
I want to be cosmic radiation. Well, you've never been exposed to that. Oh, well, I thought it would be cool. No, not a good enough justification. Let me know how you justify that. The idea being that karma is both a banked and a usable. You can put karma into a karma pool. You can say, "I'm going to create an advancement pool, and I'm going to put 100 karma of that 226. That 100 karma is locked and can only be spent for advancement."
Okay.
So that if you say, "I'm putting this in an advancement karma pool," and then you spend 100 here to kill this guy, and 100 here to kill this guy, and 100 here to kill this guy, well, you spend 100 here to kill that guy, or to defeat that enemy, and then from 226, you put 100 away, so you're at 126, you spend 100, you've got 26 left. Well, I need to spend 75 to beat this guy. I'm going to spend this 26 and then this from my advancement pool. No, you're not. So if you want to dig out and make a karma pool, you can do that. But once you lock it into an advancement pool, you don't get to pull it out later when Dr. Doom shows up and wants to ruin your apartment.
Karma on advancement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it 1 for 1? So if I want to take armored skin from 75 to 100, it's 25 karma?
Nope. There's a little formula in the book.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And there's columns and to move from here to here, and there's all of that.
Okay.
You can create a shared karma pool where you say, okay, me and this other player or these other 4 players are going to do a general karma pool. And you write up bylaws for how that karma can and cannot be spent.
Wow.
So you can literally say, oh, we're going to make a general karma pool that you can do whatever you want with. I'll put 10 in. And then everybody can do whatever you want. Or you can say, we're going to create a karma pool that can be used only when the fate of the galaxy is in balance, cannot be used for advancement. So you can't help somebody else buy another power with a Save the Universe pool.
Okay.
Also, somebody's purse snatching from this lady and you want to chase him down and he's the Flash. Well, that's the Save the Universe pool, and this lady's getting purse snatched. The universe doesn't really hang in the balance. You can't spend karma from there.
Okay.
So, but Galactus shows up and begins eating the planet. Well, heck yeah, we've got a karma pool to just burn. That's how that generally works. So karma can be spent in a variety of different ways. That's one thing I wanted to go over. Because some people like to hoard that stuff. Some people like to burn it down to zero from the standpoint of, so if I kill somebody, oops, I didn't lose that much.
Oh, okay.
Some people
I don't like the mentality so much, but...
Neither do I.
Yeah.
But some folks like to be, whatever.
Okay. But he gets pinned by a villain in a corner. It has a bad roll.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have any karma, you're...
If you really need that one total long shot and you want to be guaranteed of success, you spend some karma.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's good all the way around.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
None at the present time.
Excellent. Once again, this is Scott, and I'm here with Josh. Say goodnight, Josh.
Good night.
That's it tonight for us on the Gaming with Scott podcast. You can always send us an email at gamingwscott@gmail.com or catch us on Twitter. Josh Elliott is at Asmodee369. John is at JPMGarlic. Josh Jackson is at ActionJack853. Rico is at R1C0. Or me, Scott T, at GamingWScott. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/GamingWScott. Don't forget to check out nerdsdom.com for all their reviews and other great podcasts. Remember, be the superhero you always wanted to see in the world. As always, you'll be hearing from us real soon.